Hello there, and welcome back to Sleepy Wilds. Tonight, we're stepping away from the forests and shorelines for something a little different. Somewhere out there, at the end of a street that only appears once the rest of the world has gone quiet, there's a hotel. You won't find it on any map. It doesn't open during the day. It exists only for one guest, one night, and then it's gone again until the next tired traveler needs it. Tonight, that traveler is you. So let yourself get comfortable. Dim the lights if you can, pull the blanket up, and let your eyes grow heavy whenever they're ready to. There's no need to follow every detail, no need to stay awake for the ending. This story isn't going anywhere without you, and it won't mind at all if you drift off long before it's through. Close your eyes if that feels right, and let's walk through the door together. This is the hotel that exists only while you sleep. You find the hotel at the end of a street that wasn't there this afternoon. The sign above the door glows a soft amber, and the letters seem to rearrange themselves gently, settling at last into a name you already knew, the Hollow Light Hotel. The doors open before you touch them, easing inward with a low, contented sigh, and warm air spills out to meet you, carrying the scent of old paper and beeswax candles. Inside, the lobby stretches farther than the building's outside walls should allow, its ceiling lost somewhere above in soft shadow, a scattering of small brass lanterns floating there instead of hanging from anything at all. The floor is a deep, patient wood, worn smooth by feet that may have walked here for centuries. Your footsteps make almost no sound, as though the hotel is holding its breath. At the far end of the lobby, a curved wooden desk waits beneath a single lamp, its light spilling over a leather guest book left open to a blank page. No one stands behind the desk. Yet somehow you don't feel alone. You step closer, and the page begins to fill itself in with quiet, looping handwriting, spelling out your name as if it has always known you were coming. Behind the desk, small brass keys hang in neat, uneven rows, each tied with a faded ribbon of a different color. One key hangs slightly lower than the rest, as if it has been waiting for you. Its ribbon is the soft gray of late evening clouds, and it settles into your palm with a weight that feels oddly comforting. Somewhere above you, a clock begins to chime, slow and unhurried, though you cannot see its face in the shadow. You lose count of the chimes, your mind drifting toward the wide staircase curving up from the lobby's far corner, its banister smooth under a thin layer of dust. The air grows a little warmer as you take your first step toward the stairs, the hotel settling gently around you, like a house glad, at last, to have someone to hold. The stairs curve upward in slow, wide steps, carpeted in deep burgundy so soft it seems to catch each footfall before it can make a sound. Every few steps, a small wall lamp flickers on just before you reach it, as though the hotel is lighting your way one breath ahead of you, never rushing, never falling behind. Halfway up, you pass a tall window set into the curve of the staircase, its glass fogged faintly at the edges. Beyond it, you glimpse a garden that has no business being there, given how the building looked from the street. Rows of pale flowers lean gently in a wind you cannot feel, and somewhere among them, a fountain trickles in the dark, its sound drifting up to you soft and steady, like breathing. You linger there a moment, forehead almost touching the cool glass, watching the garden sway. It occurs to you, quietly and without any real concern, that this hotel does not seem to follow the shape of ordinary buildings, that its halls and rooms may fold and stretch according to some private logic all their own. The thought doesn't frighten you. If anything, it settles something loose inside your chest, a permission to stop keeping track. At the top of the stairs, a long corridor opens before you, its walls lined with doors of every different shade of wood, each numbered in soft, curling script. Some doors sit slightly ajar, spilling out thin slivers of candlelight and the faint murmur of someone humming, low and tuneless and calm. You don't look inside. It doesn't feel like a place for looking, only for passing through gently. The gray ribbon in your hand tugs gently, drawing your attention toward a door near the far end, patient and waiting. The carpet grows thicker underfoot as you walk, muffling even your breathing, until it feels as though the corridor itself is holding you steady, one slow step at a time. The door waits for you exactly where the ribbon led, a soft, weathered gray to match the ribbon itself, with a small brass number that seems to shift shape slightly each time you try to read it, settling finally into something that feels less like a room number and more like a quiet welcome. The key slides into the lock without resistance, turning with a low click that seems to echo somewhere far off, in a hallway you'll never see. Inside, the room is smaller than the lobby but no less strange in its comfort. A wide bed sits against the far wall, piled with pillows and a quilt the color of late twilight, deep blue fading into soft violet at its edges. The curtains are already drawn halfway, letting in gentle, silvery light from a moon you didn't notice outside. A small writing desk sits beneath the window, holding a brass lamp and a single candle in a glass holder shaped like a shell. You don't remember lighting it, yet warm light flickers there now, casting soft shadows across the wallpaper's faded pattern of vines and small, sleeping birds. You set the key down on the desk, and the ribbon coils itself into a neat, contented loop, as though it, too, is settling in for the night. The room smells faintly of lavender and something like warm bread, and for the first time since you arrived, you notice how heavy your own eyelids have become, how willingly your shoulders have begun to loosen. Near the bed stands a small, round table you hadn't noticed before, holding a porcelain cup of something warm, steam curling upward in a slow spiral. You don't remember it being poured, but that doesn't feel strange here, only expected. You sit on the edge of the bed, the mattress giving gently beneath you, and wrap both hands around the cup, letting its warmth seep into your palms. Outside the window, the moon shifts faintly, and somewhere below, far away, you hear the garden fountain still trickling quietly, keeping its own soft rhythm. You finish the last of the warm drink and set the cup aside, and almost at once, a soft knock sounds at the door, so gentle you almost mistake it for the wind. When you open it, no one stands in the corridor, only a small folded note resting on the floor, written in the same looping hand that filled in your name downstairs. It reads simply, "The hallway remembers everyone who has slept here. Walk it, if you'd like company." You slip on the robe hanging from a hook by the door, thick and soft, the color of moss after rain, and step barefoot into the corridor. The carpet is warm beneath your feet, warmer than it should be, as though it has been holding the memory of every guest who ever paused there. The corridor seems longer now than before, curving gently in a way you don't remember. Small framed pictures line the walls, portraits of people you've never met, each wearing the soft, unguarded expression of someone caught mid-yawn. You pass an older woman by an unlit fireplace, a boy curled beneath a willow tree, hands cupped around a bowl of something steaming. None of them look back, and yet you feel gently accompanied. At the end of the hall, a narrow window looks out over rooftops you don't recognize, silver with moonlight, and for a long, quiet moment, you simply stand there and watch the night settle deeper into itself. A soft armchair waits beneath the window, upholstered in faded green velvet, angled just slightly toward the glass. You sink into it without quite deciding to, and the cushions seem to remember the shape of every tired body that has rested there before you. From somewhere below, muffled by floors and distance, you hear the faint clink of dishes being cleared, a low murmur of voices too soft to make out. It's a comforting sound, the kind that asks nothing of you, and you let your head rest back against the velvet, watching the rooftops blur gently at their edges. Eventually you rise from the armchair, unhurried, and make your way back toward your room, the corridor folding gently behind you as if it never minds being retraced. Your door is exactly where you left it, the gray ribbon still coiled neatly on the desk, the candle burning just as low and steady as before. Before settling into bed, you explore a small door tucked into the far corner of the room, one you hadn't noticed until now. It opens onto a narrow bathroom lit by a single round window near the ceiling, moonlight pooling softly across old tiles patterned in pale blue and white. A claw-footed tub sits already filled, steam rising from water that smells faintly of chamomile and crushed mint. You sink into the warmth without deciding to, the water wrapping around you like something that has waited a long while to hold you properly. Your shoulders loosen, your breath slows without any effort, and for a while you simply lie there, listening to water drip somewhere unseen, a slow rhythm like a clock that has stopped counting anything urgent. Through the small window above, a single star seems to hang closer than it should, watching quietly, asking nothing of you. When you finally rise from the tub, a thick towel waits folded on a stool nearby, warm as though it has been resting by a fire, though there is no fire anywhere in this small, quiet room. You wrap yourself in it slowly, watching your breath fog faintly against the cool glass of the little window. There's no mirror in this bathroom, and somehow that feels right, as though the hotel knows tonight isn't for looking at yourself, only for being looked after. The tiles are cool beneath your feet as you step back into the softer warmth of the bedroom, your whole body loose now, the last threads of the day slipping free. The candle on the desk has burned a little lower, and the quilt on the bed seems to have turned itself down while you were away, waiting open and ready, the pillows plump just so. You slip beneath the quilt, and it settles over you with a weight that feels almost like a hand resting gently on your chest, steady and reassuring. The pillows cradle your head perfectly, as though shaped for you alone, and for a long moment you simply lie still, listening to the quiet hum of the hotel breathing around you, walls creaking softly here and there, the distant murmur of pipes somewhere deep below. You reach over and blow out the candle, and the room dims into a soft blue dark, moonlight still spilling faintly through the half-drawn curtains. Sleep doesn't come immediately, but that's all right. There's no clock counting down toward morning here, only this slow stillness, this sense of being held by something patient and kind. From somewhere down the hall, faint and far, you hear the low creak of another door opening, another guest settling into their room for the night. It's a comforting sound, proof that you're not the only one being cared for tonight, that this gentle place is doing this for someone else too, behind some other door. Your eyes grow heavier, the edges of the room softening into shadow, and the last thing you register clearly is the faint scent of lavender still lingering in the air, and the quiet, steady rhythm of the fountain far below, trickling on and on into the dark. But sleep, when it finally begins to take you, doesn't pull you all the way under just yet. Instead you drift somewhere shallow and warm, half aware still of the room around you, the shape of the wardrobe in the corner, the faint outline of the writing desk, and somewhere in that soft in-between place, you think you hear the hotel itself sigh, low and contented, the way an old house does when everyone inside it has finally gone quiet. You let yourself sink a little further, unresisting, trusting the weight of the quilt and the steadiness of your own slowing breath. There is nowhere else you need to be tonight. There is nothing left to do but rest. At some point, without noticing the shift, you find yourself no longer in bed but walking again, barefoot, down a corridor both familiar and entirely new. This must be a dream within the hotel's own dream, one layer folded softly into another, and you accept it the way you accept everything here, without question. The corridor opens into a small library you haven't seen before, shelves rising higher than seems possible, packed with books whose spines shimmer faintly, titles shifting each time you try to read them. A low fire burns in a hearth at the far end, though you don't remember any chimney on this strange building. Two deep armchairs sit angled toward the flames, one empty, one occupied by a shape you can't quite make out, soft and indistinct, like a figure seen through fogged glass. You settle into the empty chair, and the warmth of the fire reaches you slowly, patient and even. The figure beside you doesn't speak, doesn't need to. Their presence alone feels like company enough, the quiet comfort of sitting beside someone who loves you and asks nothing more than for you to be there. Somewhere above the mantel, a small clock ticks without urgency, and you find yourself watching the fire instead, the way its light moves and settles, endlessly patient, endlessly warm. After a while, The figure reaches toward a small side table and pours something into a second cup, sliding it gently across without a word. It's tea, faintly sweet, tasting almost like honey and something green you can't name. You wrap your hands around it and let the warmth travel up through your fingers, settling somewhere behind your ribs like a small, steady coal. The books on the shelves seem to lean closer in the firelight, pages rustling faintly though no wind moves through the room. You don't feel the need to read any tonight. It's enough to sit here, wrapped in borrowed warmth, beside someone whose face you still can't make out but whose presence feels entirely trustworthy. The fire begins to burn lower after a while, its light softening into deep amber embers, and the room around you seems to loosen at its edges, the shelves blurring gently into shadow. The figure beside you shifts slightly, and for just a moment, you catch something like the outline of a smile, warm and unhurried, before it dissolves back into softness. You realize, without much surprise, that you're growing sleepy again, here inside this dream within a dream, and it strikes you as oddly funny that even in a place built entirely for rest, you might drift off once more. The armchair seems to widen slightly to hold you better, cushions rising gently around your shoulders like something settling you in for the night. The clock above the mantel continues its slow, patient ticking, and the fire's embers pulse faintly, breathing in time with something you can't quite name. You let your eyes close, just for a moment, just to rest them, and the library begins to soften further, its edges dissolving into a warm, formless dark. When you open your eyes again, you're back in your own room, tucked beneath the quilt, moonlight still spilling faintly through the curtains, as though no time has passed at all, or perhaps a great deal of time has passed, gently, without any cost to you. The room feels exactly as you left it, the candle now fully out, the desk quiet in the dark, the ribbon still coiled neatly beside the key. You breathe in slowly, and the scent of lavender greets you again, familiar now, almost like an old friend. Somewhere far below, faint through the walls, the fountain continues its steady trickle, keeping no particular time. You pull the quilt a little higher, tucking it beneath your chin, and let your body sink further into the mattress, heavier now than it was even an hour ago. There's a pleasant, drifting looseness spreading through your limbs, the kind that comes only after a long day has finally, fully released its grip. Somewhere in the deepening quiet, you become aware, faintly, of a soft chime drifting up from the lobby far below, unhurried and low, the same clock you heard on arriving, marking some hour that means nothing here. You don't count the chimes this time. You simply let them wash over you, distant and soft, like water moving somewhere out of sight. The wind outside seems to have picked up slightly, and you hear it moving through the garden below, rustling the pale flowers, stirring the fountain's trickle into something briefly livelier before settling again. It's a comforting sound, proof of a world still turning gently outside your window, asking nothing of you tonight. Your thoughts, what remains of them, have grown slow and disconnected, drifting from the gray ribbon to the warmth of the tub, to the fire in the library, to the quiet figure who sat beside you there, each memory softening at its edges, blending gently into the next, the way dreams often do when they're kind enough to let you rest inside them rather than run. The hotel around you continues its low, steady breathing, walls settling, pipes humming faintly somewhere deep in its bones, and you feel yourself sinking further, held loosely but completely, by something old and patient that has done this for countless guests before you, and will go on doing it long after you've gone. Somewhere near the edge of sleep, you think you feel the quilt tuck itself a little tighter, just enough to notice, though you couldn't say who or what did the tucking. It doesn't matter. Here, in this hotel that seems to exist only for nights like this one, questions like that lose their urgency, dissolving into the same soft dark that's slowly claiming everything else. You think, briefly, of the door down the hall you never opened, all the rooms still waiting somewhere in this endless, gentle building. There will be time for those, some other night. Tonight is only for this, the quilt, the moonlight, the fountain's faraway trickle, and the last, slow unraveling of everything that came before sleep. The chimes from below fade into silence, and even the wind outside seems to settle, the garden falling still once more. What's left is only the quiet, the faint creak of old wood cooling, the soft, even hush of the quilt rising and falling with your own slow breath, the last dim glow of moonlight easing further behind passing cloud. You're not entirely sure anymore where the dream of the library ends and the dream of this room begins, and it doesn't matter. The hotel has folded them together gently, the way it seems to fold everything, without seams, without effort, offering only comfort in whatever shape happens to fit you best tonight. Somewhere far below, you imagine the guest book still lying open on the curved desk, your name settled quietly into its pages alongside countless others who have passed through these halls before you, each one, in their own time, finding their own gray ribbon, their own quiet room, their own particular version of this same soft rest. The last thing you're aware of is the weight of the quilt, warm and steady, and the faint, distant trickle of the fountain, patient as ever, keeping its slow rhythm somewhere far beneath you, asking nothing, offering everything, as the hotel settles fully into its long, unhurried night, and you settle with it. There is no need to hold on to anything more than this. No need to remember the exact shade of the quilt, or the shape of the flame that lit your candle, or even the face of the one who sat beside you by the fire. The hotel will remember it for you, quietly, the way it remembers everyone who has slept beneath its roof, folding each night gently into its own soft, endless collection. Somewhere beyond the window, the moon continues its slow drift across the sky, unhurried, indifferent to hours or clocks, and beneath it, this whole strange, patient building breathes on, holding you exactly as it has held so many before, exactly as it will hold so many after, asking only that you rest, and rest, and rest. Morning, if it can even be called that, arrives without any harsh edge to it, no alarm, no sudden light, only a gentle brightening behind the curtains, soft gold instead of white. You're not entirely sure you slept, or dreamed, or simply drifted in that pleasant space between both, but your body feels rested in a way that has nothing to do with hours or clocks. The room looks different in this light, warmer, the wallpaper's faded vines catching a gentle glow along their edges. The gray ribbon still lies coiled on the desk beside the key, exactly where you left it, patient and unmoved, as though it has been waiting quietly all this while for you to notice it again. You rise slowly, unhurried, and pad across the room toward the window, drawing the curtain back just slightly. Outside, the garden you glimpsed last night through fogged glass now sits bathed in that same soft gold light, the pale flowers slightly closed, as if they too have only just begun to wake. The fountain still trickles on, steady as ever, its sound carrying up faintly through the glass. There's no clock in the room, no way to know what hour this actually is, and you find you don't mind at all. Time here seems to bend around whatever you need most, offering morning only once you're ready to receive it, and not a moment before. A soft knock comes again, gentler than last night's, and when you open the door, a small tray waits on the floor, a folded cloth napkin, a single warm roll, and a small dish of honey beside it. There's no one in the hallway, only the faint scent of something baked drifting from somewhere far below, and the quiet certainty that this, too, was left for you alone, at exactly the right moment. You carry the tray back to the little desk and sit, tearing the warm bread slowly, letting the honey pool over your fingers, unhurried, savoring something that asks nothing of you but to simply enjoy it. Outside the window, the garden light shifts almost imperceptibly, gold deepening towards something even softer. Once the tray sits empty beside you, you feel a soft pull, not urgent, more like a suggestion, drawing you back toward the door and the hallway beyond. The gray ribbon warms slightly in your palm as you pick up the key again, as if pleased to be carried once more. The corridor greets you differently in this golden hour, the framed portraits catching soft light along their edges, the carpet warm beneath your bare feet. You notice, for the first time, a narrow side passage you missed last night, tucked between two ordinary-looking doors, its entrance nearly hidden behind a heavy curtain the same deep green as the armchair from before. Curiosity draws you gently toward it, and pulling the curtain aside reveals a narrow stairwell spiraling both up and down, lit by small round windows spaced along its curve. You can't tell where either direction leads, but something about the downward spiral feels inviting today, a soft pull toward wherever the hotel's quieter, older rooms might rest. You take the first few steps down, the stone cool beneath your feet now instead of carpet, each round window offering a brief glimpse of gardens, courtyards, rooftops you didn't know existed, each scene bathed in that same unhurried golden light. The stairwell curves gently, never steep, never demanding much of your legs, and somewhere below you can hear the faint sound of water again, closer now than the garden fountain, more like a stream moving quietly over smooth stone. A soft draft rises to meet you, carrying the scent of moss and something sweet, like crushed herbs left drying in the sun. You pause on a small landing, resting one hand against the cool stone wall, and watch dust motes drift lazily through a shaft of light from the nearest window. There's no rush to reach the bottom. The stairs seem content to let you take as long as you like, each step patient and unhurried, asking nothing of you but to keep descending slowly. The stairs finally open into a small, sunlit courtyard tucked somewhere deep within the hotel's impossible geography, a place that has no business existing given everything you saw from the street outside. A shallow stream cuts gently through smooth stone, exactly as you imagined, bordered by soft moss and a scattering of low wooden benches worn pale with age and weather. Sunlight filters down through a canopy of leaves overhead, though you can't quite tell what holds the branches up, or where the sky begins beyond them. The air here feels cooler, cleaner, carrying the faint mineral scent of the stream and something green and growing all around you. You settle onto the nearest bench, letting your bare feet rest just at the water's edge, cool and soft against your skin. Small fish, silver and unhurried, drift past without concern, circling lazily beneath the surface, in no rush to be anywhere else. A soft breeze moves through the courtyard, stirring the leaves above into a gentle, whispering rustle that feels like the hotel itself exhaling, content. You could stay here a long while, you think, and something in the quiet stillness of the place seems to agree, offering no reason to leave, no clock ticking anywhere nearby, only the stream, the leaves, and the slow, patient warmth of filtered morning light settling over everything. Further along the bank, half hidden beneath a low, drooping branch, you notice a small stone cup left resting on a flat rock, filled with clear water from the stream itself. You lift it and drink, and it tastes faintly sweet, like something distilled from the moss and leaves and quiet all around you, cool and simple and exactly enough. A soft rustle draws your eye toward the far side of the courtyard, where a small gray cat stretches slowly in a patch of sun before curling back into sleep, entirely unbothered by your presence. You watch it for a while, its sides rising and falling in slow, even breaths, and something about its easy, trusting rest settles into you too, a quiet permission to simply be still. Eventually, unhurried, you rise from the bench and follow the stream a little further, curious where its gentle path leads. It winds beneath a low stone archway on the courtyard's far side, moss climbing thick along its edges, and beyond it, the space opens slightly wider, revealing a small alcove tucked into the wall, lit by a single hanging lantern. Inside the alcove sits an old wooden swing, suspended from thick rope that seems to disappear into shadow far overhead, its seat wide enough for two, worn smooth by countless hands and evenings. You settle onto it carefully, and it holds your weight easily, swaying just slightly with a soft, comforting creak, back and forth, in a rhythm that feels older than you are. The lantern's light flickers gently against the stone walls, casting long, soft shadows that move with the swing's slow rhythm. Somewhere close by, the stream continues its quiet murmur, and you let your feet lift slightly off the ground, allowing the swing's momentum to carry you, unhurried, through slow arcs of golden light and gentle shadow. There's something deeply soothing in this small, repetitive motion, the same simple comfort you remember from childhood evenings, though you can't quite place which one. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the swing rock you, patient and steady, asking nothing more of you than to simply let go. The creak of the rope settles into a slow, familiar rhythm, almost like breathing, and you find yourself matching your own breath to it without meaning to, in and out, in time with the gentle sway. The lantern light seems to pulse faintly along with it too, brightening softly on each forward arc, dimming just as gently on the way back. You don't know how long you stay there, swinging slowly beneath the stone archway, the stream murmuring somewhere nearby, the gray cat perhaps still curled asleep in its patch of sun just beyond the alcove. Time has stopped mattering in any real way since you arrived here, and for once, that feels less like disorientation and more like relief. Let us rest here a while, in the quiet stone alcove, the swing still gently rocking beneath its old rope, the stream nearby murmuring its same patient song. There's nothing left to do in this moment but exist here, weightless and unhurried, wrapped in filtered golden light and the soft creak of wood settling into its familiar rhythm. Picture the courtyard beyond the archway, sunlight falling in slow, shifting patterns through the unseen canopy above, the small gray cat still curled in its warm patch of stone, entirely at peace with the world around it. The stream continues its quiet path past mossy banks, carrying nothing more urgent than fallen leaves and soft reflections of light. This is a place built entirely for pausing, for letting the mind grow quiet and slow, for allowing the body to remember what it feels like to simply rest without effort or agenda. The swing continues its gentle arc, back and forth, and with each pass, something in your chest loosens just a little further, some small knot of tension you didn't even know you were carrying. We will continue on shortly, following you deeper into this quiet hotel, through hallways and rooms still waiting to be discovered, each one offering its own particular version of stillness, its own soft invitation to rest a little longer before moving on. For now, though, there's no need to hurry toward any of that. The swing keeps its slow rhythm, the lantern keeps its soft, breathing glow, and the stream keeps moving quietly past, patient as it has always been, patient as it will always be, long after you've gone and long after this particular moment has folded itself gently into memory. Let your shoulders soften a little further into the worn wood beneath you. Let your breath continue matching the swing's easy sway, in and out, unhurried. There's nothing waiting for you beyond this alcove that can't wait a little longer, and nothing behind you that needs carrying forward into this quiet, golden pause. Eventually the swing slows on its own, gentle arcs shortening into stillness, and you rise from it without any real decision to do so, your body simply ready to move again. Following the stream a little further past the alcove, you find it disappears beneath another low archway, this one leading into a room unlike anything else you've seen in the hotel so far. The space opens into what can only be described as an indoor greenhouse, glass panels arching overhead in a gentle dome, filtering that same soft golden light through countless hanging plants and climbing vines. The stream continues here too, widening slightly into a shallow pool at the room's center, surrounded by smooth stones and low cushions scattered invitingly around its edge. The air feels warmer here, thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming things, jasmine perhaps, or something close to it, sweet and heavy without being overwhelming. Small birds move quietly among the highest branches, their soft calls barely louder than whispers, unconcerned by your presence, entirely at home in this strange, contained little world. You settle onto one of the cushions near the pool's edge, letting your fingers trail into the cool water, watching ripples spread slowly outward before fading into stillness again. Everything here moves at exactly this pace, unhurried, patient, content to simply exist without needing to become anything more. Above you, sunlight filters through the glass dome in shifting patterns, dappled and soft, catching on the edges of leaves before scattering gently across the water's surface. A single bloom drifts loose from somewhere overhead, pale pink and weightless, landing on the pool and turning slowly in place, carried nowhere in particular. You lean back against the cushions, letting your whole body sink into their softness, watching the little flowers unhurried spin. There's nothing to do here but watch, and breathe, and let the warm, green air settle over you like something soft draped gently across your shoulders. A soft rustle among the leaves draws your gaze upward, and you notice, for the first time, a narrow wooden walkway winding through the greenhouse's upper branches, connecting small platforms tucked here and there among the foliage. A gentle staircase curves up toward it from the pool's edge, its railing wrapped loosely in the same climbing vines that fill the room. Curiosity pulls you upward, unhurried, each step soft beneath your feet, and the walkway sways just slightly as you cross it, though never enough to feel unsteady, only enough to feel alive, connected to the branches supporting it. From up here, the greenhouse spreads out beneath you in soft shades of green, the pool a mirror reflecting fractured light back up through the leaves. At the walkway's far end, a small wooden platform holds a single hammock, strung loosely between two thick branches, swaying gently in some breeze you can't quite feel but can somehow sense moving through the space. You climb into it carefully, and it holds you easily, cradling your whole body in soft, woven rope. From this height, tucked among the leaves, the birds' quiet calls sound closer now, almost like a lullaby sung just for you, and the golden light filtering through the glass dome above feels warmer here, more concentrated, wrapping around you the way sunlight does on the first truly warm afternoon of spring. The hammock sways in slow, unhurried arcs, and you let one arm dangle loosely over its edge, fingertips brushing against a nearby leaf, cool and soft against your skin. Somewhere below, the pool continues its quiet rippling, and further off, faint and pleasant, you catch the scent of something blooming just out of sight, sweet and warm and entirely unhurried. Your eyes grow heavy again, gently this time, without any resistance, and you let them close, trusting the hammock's steady sway to hold you exactly as it should. There's nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do, only this soft, swaying rest among the leaves, wrapped in warm light and quiet birdsong. When you open your eyes again, uncertain how long you drifted, the light through the glass dome has shifted slightly, deepening from gold towards something softer, more amber, like the hour just before evening settles in properly. The hammock has stilled beneath you, no longer swaying, simply holding you steady in the quiet. You climb down slowly, unhurried, the walkway swaying gently beneath your returning weight, and make your way back across the greenhouse toward the pool, the birds above growing quieter now, their calls softer, more sporadic, as if they too are settling toward rest. The little pink bloom still drifts somewhere on the water's surface, farther along its slow, unhurried journey. Following the stream back the way you came, past the alcove where the swing now hangs perfectly still, you find yourself once more at the base of the spiral stairwell, its round windows now catching that same deepening amber light. The climb up feels easier than the descent, your body loose and unhurried, each step simply happening without effort. At the top, the heavy green curtain still hangs where you left it, and pulling it aside reveals the familiar hallway, its portrait softened now in the fading afternoon light, the carpet warm and welcoming beneath your feet, patient as ever, waiting to guide you gently back toward your room. The corridor feels quieter than before, most of the doors closed now, only the faintest murmurs slipping through here and there, other guests settling into their own quiet afternoons. You pass the narrow window near the stairs and pause a moment, watching the garden below shift slowly under the changing light, the fountain still trickling its same patient rhythm. Your own door waits exactly where you left it, the number above it settling once more into that same soft, welcoming shape. The key turns easily in the lock, and the familiar scent of lavender greets you as you step back inside, the candle on the desk still burning low, as though it never noticed you were gone at all. Back in your room, the amber light spills warmer now through the half-drawn curtains, catching soft dust motes drifting lazily near the window. You settle onto the edge of the bed, feeling the day's slow, wandering journey finally begin to catch up with you again, that same pleasant heaviness returning to your limbs, welcome and familiar. The quilt still holds the shape it kept overnight, deep blue fading into violet, and you run one hand across its softness, feeling the day's small adventures settle into memory, the swing's gentle creak, the greenhouse's warm green air, the hammock's slow, swaying rest. None of it feels far away, exactly, more like something folded gently into the same soft dream you've been living since you first found this hotel. Outside, the light continues its slow shift toward evening, the garden below deepening in shadow, the fountain's trickle growing somehow more distinct as the world around it quiets. You notice the small round table has, once again, produced a warm cup of something without your asking, steam curling gently upward, and you wrap your hands around it gratefully, letting its warmth seep into your palms. There's a comforting rhythm to this place, you realize, arrival and rest, wandering and return, each part folding easily into the next, asking nothing more of you than to keep letting yourself be gently, patiently cared for. You sip slowly, the drink faintly sweet, tasting almost like the flower that once drifted across the greenhouse pool, and set the cup aside once it's finished, feeling the last traces of the day's wandering settle fully into your bones. The candle's small flame flickers once, steady again, casting its familiar warm shadows across the wallpaper's faded vines. You lie back against the pillows, unhurried, letting your eyes rest on the ceiling, its soft plaster patterns catching the last amber light. There's no need to move again tonight. The room, the quilt, the whole gentle hotel around you, all of it simply waits, patient, for whenever you're ready to let go completely. The amber light fades slowly into that same soft blue dark you remember from before, evening settling in fully around the room, unhurried and gentle. You blow out the candle at last, and the familiar dimness wraps around you, moonlight beginning its own quiet climb through the curtains once more. You slip beneath the quilt, and it settles over you with that same reassuring weight, holding you steady the way it did the night before, though this time your body already knows the shape of this comfort, already trusts the softness of this bed, the patience of this hotel, the way it seems to know exactly what you need before you ever have to ask. Somewhere far below, you imagine the greenhouse settling into its own nighttime quiet, the little gray cat curled up somewhere warm, the swing hanging still in its stone alcove, the stream continuing its endless, patient murmur through moss and smooth stone, indifferent to whether anyone is there to hear it. Your thoughts drift loosely between the day's small moments, golden light through glass, a pink bloom turning slowly on still water, the creak of an old rope swing, each memory soft and unhurried, folding gently into the next, the way the whole day itself has folded gently into this quiet, familiar dark, patient and warm, asking only that you rest. The ribbon on the desk stays coiled and still, the key resting quietly beside it, both of them settled now for the night, no longer needed until you're ready to wander again. Your breathing slows further, matching itself to the far-off rhythm of the fountain below, patient and steady, marking nothing but its own gentle, unhurried time. You feel yourself sinking, loose and warm, into the same soft dark that has held you since your very first night here, trusting it completely now, the way you might trust an old friend who has never once let you down, who asks nothing of you tonight but to simply, fully, let go. You wake, or half wake, uncertain again where sleep ends and this soft, floating awareness begins. The room sits exactly as you left it, moonlight now fuller through the curtains, spilling a wide silver path across the floor toward the door. Something about that path feels like an invitation, gentle and unhurried, though you're not sure toward what. You rise slowly, the quilt sliding away easily, and follow the moonlight out into the hallway. The corridor feels different at this hour, hushed and still, every door closed now, every guest apparently deep in their own quiet rest. The portraits along the walls seem to watch you pass with the same soft, sleepy expressions as before, unbothered, familiar. At the end of the hall, past the narrow window, a door you don't remember seeing stands slightly open, soft candlelight spilling from within. You approach it without hesitation, some part of you certain this is exactly where the moonlight meant to lead you all along. Inside is a small observatory, its domed ceiling made entirely of glass, revealing a sky thick with more stars than you've ever seen in one place, scattered like spilled sugar across deep, endless blue-black. A single telescope stands angled toward the heavens, and beside it, a wide, cushioned bench waits, clearly meant for lying back and simply looking up. You settle onto the bench, and it holds you easily, soft and wide enough to stretch out fully, your head tilting back until the whole sky fills your vision. The stars seem closer here than they should, close enough that you could almost believe you might reach up and gather a few into your palm, cool and quiet, like scattered drops of light. A faint hum drifts from somewhere near the telescope, low and steady, almost musical, though you can't place the source. It doesn't matter. Nothing in this room asks to be understood, only witnessed, only rested beneath, and you let your eyes drift slowly across the endless scatter of light above you. As you lie beneath the endless spread of stars, you notice small movements among them, slow drifting shapes that aren't quite shooting stars, more like soft embers rising gently upward instead of falling. You watch one trace a lazy arc across the dome above you, unhurried, in no rush to reach anywhere in particular. The bench beneath you seems to shift slightly, tilting almost imperceptibly to keep you comfortable no matter which direction you turn your gaze. Somewhere close by, you catch the faint scent of warm wax, and glancing sideways you find a small candle burning steadily on a low shelf, its flame perfectly still despite the open feel of the room. The hum near the telescope continues its low, steady murmur, and after a while you realize it isn't mechanical at all, but something closer to breathing, slow and patient, as though the whole room itself is resting alongside you, sharing in this same quiet appreciation of the sky above. You let your eyes half close, the stars blurring gently into soft points of light, and your thoughts, what remains of them, drift loosely upward too, weightless, following the same unhurried path as those slow embers rising through the dark, asking nothing, going nowhere, simply drifting. A soft weight settles over your legs, and you realize, without much surprise, that a thin knitted blanket has appeared there, warm and light, tucked in by no hands you can see. You pull it a little higher over your chest, grateful for the small extra warmth against the observatory's cool night air, and let your gaze return to the endless scatter of stars above. Somewhere far off, past the glass dome, you think you hear the faint, familiar trickle of the garden fountain, carried up impossibly from below, blending with the room's steady breathing hum into something almost like a lullaby, wordless and slow, meant for no one but you. A soft shift in the light draws your attention back to the dome above, and you notice the stars beginning to rearrange themselves slowly, shifting into loose, unfamiliar constellations that seem to form and dissolve like slow, drifting smoke. You watch, unbothered, as one shape resembles briefly a curled cat, another a winding staircase, another something that might be a hotel key, its outlines soft and glowing. The telescope beside you tilts on its own, unhurried, adjusting towards some new point in the sky, though you make no move to look through it. It's enough simply to watch from here, wrapped in your thin blanket, the bench cradling you exactly as it should, the whole observatory humming its slow, patient breath around you. You wonder, briefly and without much urgency, whether other guests are somewhere in this same room, or perhaps in rooms just like it, each with their own private dome, their own slow scatter of shifting stars. The thought doesn't feel lonely. If anything, it feels comforting, this quiet knowledge that the hotel holds so many of you, gently, all at once, each in your own soft pocket of rest. The stars above continue their slow drift, and your eyelids grow heavier still, the shapes blurring further into soft, unfocused light, warm and endless, asking nothing of you but to keep watching for just a little while longer. Somewhere near the telescope, the low hum deepens slightly, settling into something even steadier, and you feel the bench beneath you tilt just a touch further back, cradling your head more fully, as though the room itself has noticed your growing sleepiness and adjusted to meet it. The blanket over your legs feels heavier now too, warm and grounding, pressing you gently into stillness. You let your eyes close fully this time, no longer trying to hold on to the shifting shapes above, content instead to simply feel the last traces of starlight against your closed lids, soft and distant, like warmth from a fire long since settled into embers. When you next become aware of yourself, you're no longer certain whether you're still in the observatory or somewhere else entirely, the boundary between the two grown soft and uncertain, the way it often does this deep into rest. The stars still seem to hang somewhere above you, but the bench beneath you now feels more like your own bed, the quilt's familiar weight settling gently over your legs instead of the thin knitted blanket. You don't try to sort out which is which. It doesn't matter here. The hotel seems content to let its rooms blend and overlap however they please, offering you whichever comfort feels most needed in each passing moment, without ever asking you to choose between them. A soft, distant murmur reaches you, low voices somewhere far off, unhurried and warm, though you can't make out any actual words. It sounds almost like laughter, gentle and affectionate, the kind shared between old friends settling in for a quiet evening together. You let it wash over you, comforted simply by its presence, by the knowledge that somewhere nearby, life continues its own soft, unhurried rhythm. Your breathing has slowed further now, matching some rhythm you can't quite name, patient and steady, and the last of your scattered thoughts continue their slow drift upward, weightless, following those same soft embers you watched rising earlier through the endless dark above. Somewhere close, you feel a hand adjust the quilt slightly higher over your shoulders, though you couldn't say whose it belongs to, only that its touch feels kind, familiar. You don't open your eyes to look. There's no need. Whoever it is seems content simply to make sure you're warm enough before withdrawing quietly again. The murmured voices fade slowly, replaced by that same low, breathing hum you noticed in the observatory, steady and patient, carrying you gently further down into whatever rest waits beneath this one, layer after layer, each softer than the last, each asking nothing more of you than to keep letting go. Let us pause here once more, resting quietly in this soft, uncertain space between the observatory and your own familiar room, the two blending gently together the way dreams often do near their deepest, calmest point. There's no need to sort out where you are exactly, only to notice how completely held you feel, wrapped in warmth from every direction at once. Picture the stars still turning slowly somewhere above, patient and endless, while beneath them, your own quilt settles its familiar weight over your shoulders, the two comforts overlapping without any contradiction, the way only a dream as kind as this one could allow. The low, breathing hum continues its steady rhythm, carrying you gently along, layer after soft layer. This is the deepest part of the night now, the hour when even dreams begin to slow, when thought grows thin and scattered and easy to release. There's nothing left to hold on to, and nothing that needs holding. Only this warm, patient dark, and the quiet certainty that you are exactly where you're meant to be. We will continue shortly, following you through whatever remains of this long, gentle night, toward whatever soft morning waits for you on the other side of all this rest. For now, let the stillness settle a little further. Let your breathing keep matching that low, patient hum, in and out, unhurried, the way it has been doing all this while without you needing to think about it at all. Nothing is required of you in this pause, only the simple, easy act of continuing to rest. The candle somewhere nearby, wherever it might be burning, flickers once, low and steady, and the shadows it casts settle back into their same gentle stillness. Everything here moves at exactly the pace you need it to, no faster, no slower, patient enough to wait as long as it takes for you to sink fully, completely, into this soft and endless quiet. Slowly, gently, the observatory stars begin to dim, one by one, not disappearing exactly, more like settling further back into the deep blue-black behind them, growing softer, quieter, the way a room does when everyone inside it has finally, fully gone to sleep. The hum around you deepens too, folding into something even lower, closer now to true silence than sound. You feel yourself settling more fully into the bed beneath you, the observatory bench in your own familiar quilt now entirely the same thing, no longer two separate comforts but one continuous, unbroken softness holding you from every side. The distant murmur of voices has faded completely, leaving only that low, patient hum and the faint, far-off trickle of the fountain below. Your body feels heavier now than it has all night, pleasantly so, sunk deep into whatever surface holds you, arms loose at your sides, shoulders finally, completely unclenched. There's nothing left pulling at your attention, no small curiosity left to chase, only this wide, warm stillness stretching out in every direction. Somewhere at the very edge of awareness, you register the last of the candlelight dimming too, not going out entirely, just settling into that same low, steady glow it's held all along, patient enough to burn quietly through whatever remains of this long, unhurried night. There's a particular kind of stillness that only arrives this deep into rest, when even the small, wandering thoughts have quieted, when the body stops noticing itself as separate from the bed, the quilt, the warm dark surrounding it. You feel yourself arriving there now, slowly, without any effort, simply settling into place the way water settles into the lowest point of any given space. The last thing you're aware of, faint and distant, is the soft creak of the hotel itself, walls easing, floors resting, the whole building breathing its own slow, patient breath around you, holding everything within it exactly as gently as it's holding you. In this deepest hush, you become distantly aware of the whole hotel around you, not as separate rooms and hallways anymore, but as one single, breathing presence, vast and patient, holding countless guests within its walls the way a great, slow-beating heart holds blood, gently, rhythmically, without ever needing to think about the effort of it. You imagine, faintly, all the other rooms tucked throughout this impossible building, each one offering its own quiet version of what you found tonight, a warm bath here, a fireside library there, an observatory somewhere else entirely, each guest wrapped in whatever comfort suits them best, none of them aware of the others, and yet all of them held by the same patient structure, the same endless, unhurried care. The image doesn't feel strange to hold. If anything, it settles something even deeper in you, this sense of belonging to something larger and gentler than yourself, something that exists purely to offer rest, without condition, without limit, without ever once asking anything in return. Your breathing slows further still, matching itself now to that same vast, distant rhythm, and the last flickers of thought dissolve quietly into it, leaving only warmth, and weight, and the soft, endless dark of a hotel built entirely for nights exactly like this one. You think, faintly, of the gray ribbon still resting on your desk, patient and coiled, waiting for whenever you might next reach for it, though that thought too dissolves gently, unimportant now against the deeper pull of rest settling fully through you. There is nothing left to plan for, nothing left to remember, only this wide, warm stillness holding you exactly as it should. Somewhere far beneath everything, the fountain continues its same unhurried trickle, patient and endless, marking no hour, asking nothing, simply existing alongside you in this shared, quiet dark, two small steady rhythms breathing together through the long, gentle heart of the night. Time, whatever remains of it here, seems to slow almost to stillness now, each breath stretching a little longer than the last, each moment folding gently into the next without any real sense of separation between them. You're no longer trying to track where you are, or what room holds you, only resting in the simple, unbroken fact of being held at all. Faint images drift past occasionally, soft and wordless, the shallow stream through the greenhouse, the slow arc of a rope swing, stars rearranging themselves into shapes too gentle to hold any real meaning, each one arriving and departing without effort, like clouds passing across a quiet sky. You watch them the way you might watch anything from very far away, curious but entirely unbothered. The hotel's low, breathing hum continues beneath everything, patient and unwavering, a steady undercurrent to whatever remains of your own scattered awareness. It feels less like a sound now and more like a presence, something holding the edges of the dark together, gentle and complete. You sink further, and further still, each small release feeling easier than the one before it, until even the effort of noticing yourself sinking begins to fade, leaving only the soft, warm certainty of rest, deep and unhurried, exactly as it was always meant to be. Somewhere, impossibly distant now, you sense the hotel's countless rooms all settling into this same deep quiet alongside you, every guest folded into their own soft version of this exact stillness, all of you held together within the same patient walls, breathing the same slow, shared rhythm without ever needing to know one another's names. There is nothing left to notice, nothing left to hold on to, only this wide, warm dark stretching gently in every direction, patient and complete, asking nothing more of you now than to simply, fully, let it carry you the rest of the way down. In this furthest, quietest place, there is almost nothing left to describe, only the faint sense of warmth, and weight, and a stillness so complete it barely feels like anything at all anymore, simply the absence of needing to be anywhere else, doing anything else, thinking anything else. If you could still form a thought clearly, it might be something like gratitude, faint and wordless, for this strange hotel that appeared exactly when you needed it, for its endless patient rooms, its gray ribbon, its quiet fountain, its fireside library and starlit dome, each one offering exactly the right kind of rest at exactly the right moment, without ever once being asked. But even that thought has grown too soft now to really hold, dissolving gently the way everything else has dissolved tonight, folding back into the same wide, warm dark that has been waiting patiently beneath every room you visited, every comfort you were offered, all along. The hotel breathes on around you, slow and steady, its countless rooms settled now into the same deep hush, its halls empty and quiet, its candles burned low, its fountains still trickling their same unhurried song into the endless, patient night, holding you, and everyone else within its walls, exactly as gently as it has from the very first moment you arrived. There's no need to hold on to any of it now, not the memory of the staircase, not the warmth of the bath, not even the quiet figure who once sat beside you by the fire. All of it rests safely somewhere behind you, folded gently into the hotel's own soft keeping, ready to be found again whenever you might next need it. For now, there is only this, the quilt, the dark, the faint, far rhythm of water moving somewhere below, and the complete, unhurried permission to simply stop, to simply rest, to let go of everything except the soft, steady fact of being held. There's nothing left now but stillness, deep and complete, the kind that arrives only after everything else has been gently set down. The hotel holds its breath around you, patient as it has been all along, and you hold yours too, matched now to its same slow, unhurried rhythm, indistinguishable from the quiet itself. Somewhere far behind you, in memory too soft now to fully reach, the gray ribbon still waits coiled on its desk, the fountain still trickles through its garden, the swing still hangs quiet in its stone alcove, and the stars still turn slowly behind their glass dome. None of it needs tending tonight. All of it simply rests, exactly as it is, exactly as you are. If sleep has not fully claimed you yet, it is close now, close enough that the distance no longer matters, close enough that whatever remains between waking and rest has grown as thin and soft as the last thread of candlelight flickering somewhere in a room you can no longer quite picture. Let this be enough. Let the quilt, the dark, the fountain's endless trickle be enough. The hotel will keep its patient watch through whatever remains of the night, and you, held gently within it, need do nothing more now than simply, completely, rest. Whatever waking waits beyond this moment can wait a little longer still. There is no need to reach for it, no need to hurry toward morning or away from this soft dark. Everything you need is already here, already given, already settled quietly around you the way it has been since the very first step through those amber doors. The last of your thoughts, faint as breath on glass, simply fade, and the hotel, patient and endless, breathes on around you, holding its long, unhurried watch, exactly as it always has, exactly as it always will, for as long as you need it to. Rest now. Just rest. And so, gently, our story comes to its close for tonight. The Hollow Light Hotel keeps its quiet watch, its lanterns dimmed low, its long halls settled into stillness, every guest within its walls folded softly into their own deep, unhurried rest. Thank you for spending this time with us, for walking those amber halls, for resting beside that quiet fire, for lying beneath that endless scatter of stars. Wherever you are listening from, whatever kind of day led you here tonight, we hope this small, strange hotel gave you exactly the rest you needed. If your eyes are still open, let them close now. Let your breath settle into that same slow, patient rhythm the hotel has been holding all along. There's nowhere else to be, nothing else to do, only this soft dark, and the quiet, steady comfort of knowing you are held. Sleep well. Rest deeply. And should you ever find yourself walking down a street that wasn't there before, look for the amber glow above a door that seems to know your name. The Hollow Light Hotel will be waiting, patient as ever, whenever you need it again. Good night.